You ever get so angry at work that um, you show it, right? You ever allow your emotions to just show while you're in your workspace? My question is, how's that working for you, right? How is that working for you? Like, are you still a good leader when you're angry in your workplace? We know that leadership can be extremely like it's an emotional process because you're dealing with people, right? And things and a lot of things are beyond your control. No matter how much you think you are in control, lots of things are beyond your control, your direct control, right? So, in the course of leading your company, your team, leading your family, um, you become invested in the strategic outcomes. You want you want things to go right because you set the vision, you've established strategy, you have great resources in place, and you are invested in your employees, your team. You're invested in the business processes, and this level of personal investment can lead to an emotionally charged situations. And sometimes this causes you to lose your temper. Sometimes because we're all human, right? However, when you unleash your anger at work, sometimes there are some costs associated with that. You you could be, like a hothead. You're creating or changing the culture in your workspace. You are you can possibly lose credibility, and sometimes your thinking is clouded when you are emotionally charged, especially if you're making business decisions, especially if you're engaging with people who have boundaries around it, kind of thing. Like, "Phew, I'm not putting up with this foolishness, all this loud talking, all this explosive behaviors, all this direct energy towards me. I'm not doing that." You might have people like that because that's who I am, right? Um, so my name's Angela M. Odom, the host of the Better You Leadership podcast. I'm so glad you're here during this live recording. We focus on women, right? Women who are on a journey to improve their leadership capacity, right? To expand their leadership capacity. They're on a journey to do better, to get better, to become better, more effective leaders. And I want to first to show you the shirt I have on, Better You Leadership. If you want to get yourself or give a friend one of these, and go to odomgeneralstore.com. And my name is ODOM, odomgeneralstore.com. Get yourself black, white. They come in other colors also. So let's talk about getting angry at work and then the cost of being a leader with a temper. So, first of all, we're talking about emotional intelligence. We're talking about emotions. Let's step back from that for a minute and think about what makes up our personality, right? What we do, which is our behavior, what we think, right? And what we feel. And we talk about that. That's our personality. What we do as in our behavior, what we think, and then how we feel, right? And how all of that is together. The way we purport ourselves, the way we carry ourselves. We're talking about emotions, right? What we feel, anywhere from interest to joy to surprise, sadness, and then anger and disgust, contempt, fear and shame, shyness and guilt. All those are emotions. And there are, if you talk to somebody, it might be 27. Some people say like seven, but basically, um, fear, love, anger, right? And happiness, joy, rather, or really the basic emotions as far as I understand, right? So we want to make sure we know what we're talking about. We're really talking about our personality when we talk about this whole getting angry in the workspace. And I'm not talking about that whole gaslighting thing. Like, I'm a black woman, right? Beautiful black woman, by the way. And some people, whatever, attempt to label black women when we show emotion. So me talking loud or being passionate about it is not the same thing as being angry about it, right? And that whole I subscribe to the fact that I am not intimidating. You are intimidated. And sometimes that's a farce in a way. It's a distraction. So don't fall for that. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about you changing your personality to fit someone's comfort, right? To fit someone else's narrative. We're talking about you like legitimately being angry in the workspace. And what does that look like? And if you are actually benefiting from that, right? And I have a teenage son. He's playing AAU basketball. Playing basketball outside of his school, and they go all over the place. The teams playing in tournaments most weekends, right? And I noticed probably we're in June already, so it may have been like April, end of April, they lost his team. My son's team lost um, 2 games. They lost 2 games in that tournament, and I was walking out of the gym, and his coach was walking out, and he was stomping, right? He was stomping, and obviously he was emotionally invested in the outcome of the game, right? And he was throwing around F words, and he was dropping them F bombs left and right, and he was not talking to anyone specifically. Understand there were different teams there, different age group of boys and girls, um, background people of all different backgrounds, and he was acting out, right? He was acting out. I walked out the door and I sat on one of the bleachers, one of the benches outside, and I just watched him put on this show, hands flailing and saying all types of things. And my son came out to me, not to the coach, but he came out to me, feeling down about, sad about the results of the game, the outcome of the game. And I just had him to sit there, and we just watched. And I said to him, um, "That does not have anything to do with you, right? That part does not have anything to do with you." Because he had some turnovers and that kind of thing in the game. So that's not about you. And he just looked at me. He just said, "Okay, mom." Right, just sat there. Um, and I thought to myself, that fellow right there needs some higher emotional intelligence. And then I realized that when I played sports, right, in school, sometimes a coach would do that on purpose to fire us up, right? To get our mind focused on the game, the details, right? Making sure that we are all now we are uh, bonded through this particular adversity, because that's what our coaches has done. Like put so much heat on us that we would actually communicate during the game. It was basketball. I also ran track and cross country. But anyway, so that's what I know. Some of this is manufactured, right? Sometimes we're doing it for show. Sometimes we're doing it for show. And of course, I served 27 years in the Army, and sometimes I would lose my temper. And then sometimes I would just talk loud to get people's attention. So there is a difference. So we're really talking about you being angry, as in um, out of control, right? Outside of yourself, doing things, saying things that is not beneficial to the whole at that point, right? Because if you're like me, when I am angry, I'm not talking about irritated or annoyed, but flat out just angry. As people say, I see red, right? Then that means that um, not necessarily thinking through, critically thinking, or actually coming up with the results that I'm going to be proud of later, right? So let's just be clear about what we're talking about. So anyway, there are several costs associated with this act, with your behavior, and you want to understand that anger really is a healthy emotion. It's it really, that's like a signal that something is upsetting. So it really exists to force you to react and make changes. However, when leaders, and I'm talking about legitimate leaders, I'm talking about people who have been placed in a position and have power or influence over their direct reports, over people's pay, over people's their day-to-day activities. That's what we're talking about right now, right? So so leaders who are expressing anger at work really are in danger of damaging your reputation, both inside and outside of the company. If your mood is unpredictable, over time, people might, uh, you know, label you as a volatile leader. And really, what they're going to do is they're going to um, not feel safe, which means not performing um, at the maximum level, not feeling safe in telling you when things are not going right, not feeling safe in providing difficult or bad news, or news that would be upsetting to you, and that are catering to you as an adult. Are you kidding me? So sometimes, based on your leadership style, you can also um, add additional stress to your workforce, right? Based on your leadership style and your the manner in which you convey things. This can lead to poor performance, right? And really, it could also lead to high turnover. Nobody's want to put up with that foolishness, right? Who wants to work in that environment? So if you're dealing with difficult employees, and you know you just don't know how to communicate, or they are pissing you off because they're intentionally, or for whatever reason, not performing at the standard in which you would want them to. So what does this do? This impairs like business processes, and it takes up energy that's better spent on improving the company's bottom line. So you want to just be aware of how you respond to things. And again, this is not mere irritation or just annoyance. This is you being angry, and we know what we mean by being angry. So um, you could ignore your issues, your personal anger management issues. So for me, I know um, I have been angry and volatile, right? And then I have been angry and quiet because I'm like, okay, whew, um, it's not it's not for these individuals to deal with me being upset. So let me remove myself from the situation and calm down so that I can see how to be able to think through resolving these issues. And of course, most times I would need some help from other people, more information, or okay, this is what we need to do, A, B, and C. And it's not really uh, their issue. My feelings, right? You get that? The way you feel is not necessarily somebody else's issue. Now, if you're attempting to get some type of result, some type of behavior change with that, I'm not sure if that's working for you if you're doing it all the time, right? So, how can you stop yourself from losing your temper at work? That's the question. You can just pause, right? Take a deep breath, take a break, walk away before you say something or do something that will be detrimental to the progress at work, the culture at work, the relationships at work. So when you're angry in person, uh, when you're angry, you could say something like, okay, I think I need a break. I think I'm going to walk away. I'll be back in a few minutes. Let me go get some water. Let me go remove myself. I need to take a walk. You can say those things out loud and then actually do that. Remove yourself from the situation, right? It's because for me, I've been cursed at using real curse words, and I have cursed at other people using real curse words in the moment. Um, that's how I dealt with that. And I tell you what, a few of those occasions, I'm good with it, right? Because it was peer to peer. But you understand the power uh, differences, and you can make sure that you behave accordingly. I don't think it's ever okay to, um, curse at, talk down to someone who is not on the same power level that you are. I just don't, right? I don't think it's necessary. I don't think that's necessary at all. So just know that you getting angry at work, that's your issue and not theirs, right? So the first thing is pause what you're doing, take a break, and just be aware that you cannot unring that bell. Once you ring that bell, you cannot do that. And then you want to own up to your anger, right? You want to own up to it. You want to acknowledge your reaction to a stressful situation. You want to let people know I am human. And if you have gone out and, as I would say, cut the fool, cut the fool, FOOL, then you want to acknowledge that. And you want to say, you know what? Hey, I was wrong. I was wrong. Bam, 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 and keep it moving, right? Don't dwell on it. But don't do it again. Don't do that again. So, and then you want to avoid making assumptions, right? The person who upset you or triggered you, because nobody can really upset you unless you allow them to, but the person who did whatever, their behavior or what they said or what they did, what they did not do, whatever that trigger was that caused that reaction from you, um, then you need to understand whether they even knew they did it, right? Was it intentional? And you have to understand what's going on with them. And then you slow down and not assume that they did it intentionally. But if they did, then you need to deal with it, right? Um, so an emotional outburst in face-to-face personal interactions can, sometimes they can seem to appear to come out of nowhere. Like, whoa, why was she so upset? What just happened? What did I do? You've heard that. And so you want to gather the facts and try to understand multiple points of view, right? Multiple points of view. A lot of leadership is communicating, whether it is in writing, whether it's through, face to face, whether it is somebody texting you, whether it is through someone else, indirect and direct communication. Lots of leadership is about communication. So just make sure that you avoid making assumptions. Get the facts. Um, and then learn, number four would be learn how to manage your emotion, especially when you're under pressure. Um, and you want to understand the term emotional intelligence. It's EQ, right? It's the awareness of how emotions can drive our behavior and how it can impact people both positively and negatively. So I used that example of my son's coach earlier. I think he was doing that purposely, quite frankly, because I've seen that and I've done that. So I understand that um, what is that, manipulation? I understand what that is. I've done that, right? So when you're developing your emotional intelligence, um, you learn how to manage uh, your own self, right? You know what the triggers are. You know how you might react in certain situations, and then you build from that. Self awareness. It's the self awareness, right? So you want to invest in your emotional intelligence, and get some training. Go and read some things. You could do that, and then that's number five. Is just consider leadership training. So if in fact you are angry in your workspace a lot, often, then I'm going to tell you right now, if no one else has told you, then that's not sustainable. You are ineffective, right? So short term, you might be getting some results, but I guarantee you that your folks are not in a safe environment, right? They're not in a safe environment, and it's because of you. So consider leadership training. So you you might have launched your company or you're working in the space because you're passionate and you are good at these things, right? You might be a great engineer or great whatever it is. And then when things start to grow and you have so many other responsibilities and you have other people, sometimes you'll find yourself under pressure and you need new skills, right? You need new skills. And one of them would be just cultural awareness. Another would be communication. And you want to make sure that you have those two things on lock, right? You want to understand the environment in which you have created, in which you are working in, and you want to understand how best to communicate. And then if you're not getting what you need, feedback, then again, you need some training, right? You need some training in that. So, and then the number 6 is to practice self care. Sometimes you are consumed with work and you've not had a break, some sleep, eating right, some exercise, some loving, right? Some hugs. Um, and you're not taking care of yourself. So you are already burnt out when you walk into your workspace and you want to take it out on other people. Stop doing that, right? Stop doing that. That is not what effective leaders do. That's not a good habit for a successful leader. So you want to make sure you are able to control yourself, right? And I'm not talking about making yourself small so that other people feel better. I'm not saying not to be passionate as you are conveying your message. None of that. And I know you understand what I mean, right? So what should you do if you lose your temper, right? Um, you're gonna do it, right? Every once in a while, you're gonna do it. You're gonna be annoyed. You're gonna be pissed off. So there's a few things you might want to just consider. Just calm yourself down, whatever that looks like. I like to get myself in a space by myself, right? And then once you're calm, you can think about how you're going to make amends if you have said something or done something that is way out of line, right? Own it, right? Then you want to approach the person. If you've offended someone, then apologize. Hey, whew, sorry about that. I don't, I did that, right? And you can either explain or not that you were frustrated for whatever reason. I don't know if they're going to believe you or not. So you need to deal with that part. And then you want to focus on the event or the outcome that triggered your anger, not the person. And then you want to avoid making it personal or, avoid casting blame. And so you want to make sure that you deal with this situation and not with the person, not with the other people, right? So whatever the situation is, that's what you're dealing with. You're looking at solving a problem, right? You want to focus on solving the problem and not necessarily diminishing or putting other people down or shrinking yourself, right? So that's the other thing. And then sometimes life happens, right? So pick yourself up and continue to move forward. I just wanted to share with that question with you. If and the question again is, um, when you're angry, are you still a good leader? And I would say, um, work towards that being yes. Work towards being authentic. Work towards being respectful of others and yourself, right? And then work towards being an effective communicator. Work towards being culturally aware, right? Work towards those things, and of course, have integrity. Do what you say you're going to do. The leader, the person who is responsible for the outcome, the results. So, what are you doing? You're providing resources and making sure they're available or the access to the resources, right? You're providing the overall vision, and you have input, and you are the one you're communicating what right looks like, what the goals and objectives are with input. All right. And so there you go. With that said, again, my name is Angela M. Odom, and I am the founder of the Better You Project, the brand itself, and the host of the Better You Leadership podcast. And I look forward to you providing feedback on any of these tips, these techniques that I'm sharing with you. Hey, just reach out to me. Let me know. Yeah, that worked. I tried that, and I don't know how to go forward. And again, this Better You Leadership shirt, you can go to odomgeneralstore.com and get yourself a copy. It makes perfect gifts, right? Black, white, gray, all the other colors. So Better You Leadership, get yourself some. odomgeneralstore.com. With that said, make it a great day. If you can't make it great, make it wonderful. And you all have an amazing day. And go help somebody today. Take care.